It was a golden October afternoon in Lakewood, a day when leaves danced gently in the breeze and the air held that unique crispness of early fall. Evan Ramirez, a delivery driver who was as known for his kindness as his punctuality, was finishing up his route for the day. As he turned onto Maple Lane, he spotted a family gathered on their front lawn. His keen eyes noticed a young boy, about 17, standing amid them, his fingers fumbling with a black tie that refused to cooperate. The boy's cheeks flushed with frustration, and Evan could see the weight of worry in his young face. Curiosity and a bit of empathy nudged Evan closer. He parked his van and grabbed the package destined for the house, walking up the driveway with a warm smile. As he neared, he saw the boy's mother, Mary, watching with a patient but concerned expression. She glanced up, meeting Evan's gaze, her eyes softening as if to say, "Could you lend a hand?" Evan cleared his throat gently and spoke. "Need a hand with that tie, young man?" His voice was calm, the kind that held warmth and reassurance. The boy, Aiden, looked up, a mix of relief and hesitation flashing across his face. With a slight nod, Aiden held the tie out, clearly grateful for the unexpected lifeline. Without missing a beat, Evan stepped in, his hands moving with practiced ease as he crafted a perfect knot. As he worked, he chatted with Aiden, his words carrying an easy encouragement that seemed to dissolve the boy's nervousness. "You know," Evan said with a smile, "when I was your age, I couldn't even tie my own shoes properly. But confidence isn't in the clothes or the tie. It's in the heart." Aiden's parents stood by, smiling as they watched Evan's gentle mentorship, their laughter breaking the tension that had hung in the air. Aiden's face shifted from uncertainty to a quiet pride, a spark of confidence igniting within him. When Evan finished, he straightened Aiden's collar and stepped back, admiring his handiwork. "You're going to do great," Evan assured him with a pat on the shoulder. Aiden took a deep breath, and for the first time that day, he smiled, a real, genuine smile. As Evan stepped back, admiring the young man before him, he felt a deep satisfaction. The simple act of helping Aiden with his tie was nothing extraordinary for Evan, but the look of relief and newfound confidence in Aiden's eyes meant the world. He gave Aiden a reassuring nod. "There," he said with a proud smile, "now you look like you're ready to take on the world." Aiden's mother, Mary, watched with misty eyes. She stepped closer, her voice warm with gratitude. "Thank you, Evan," she said, a little choked up. "You didn't have to stop, but it means so much to us." Evan shrugged, brushing it off with his usual humility. "Sometimes we just need a little help to feel at our best. Doesn't take much," he replied, looking at Aiden, "just a few kind words and a steady hand." He turned back to Mary, meeting her gaze with a soft smile. "We're all here to lift each other up when we can, right?" Aiden's father, Jim, who had been standing slightly apart, approached with a firm handshake for Evan. "You didn't just help with a tie," he said, his voice sincere. "You reminded us of something that's easy to forget. Kindness is powerful." Feeling touched yet slightly embarrassed, Evan chuckled. "Well, I just didn't want him walking in with a crooked tie," he joked, earning a round of laughter from the family. But his heart swelled as he saw the way Aiden looked at him, a mix of admiration and inspiration. Not wanting Evan's help to go unappreciated, Mary invited him inside for a quick cup of coffee as a token of gratitude. At first, he hesitated, but seeing the warmth in their faces, he agreed, setting aside a few moments from his busy schedule. Inside, the cozy living room smelled of cinnamon and coffee, and Evan felt an unexpected sense of belonging. As they sipped their coffee, the family listened intently as Evan shared bits of his life. He told stories of moments that taught him resilience and compassion, each one carrying a lesson in simplicity. The family, especially Aiden, hung on his every word. To Evan, it was just another day. To Aiden, it was a turning point, a memory of kindness and strength that he'd carry with him forever. That evening, as dusk settled over Lakewood, Aiden stood nervously in front of his school's auditorium doors. The buzz of chatter from his peers and teachers filled the hall, and a shiver of excitement and anxiety ran down his spine. Tonight was the senior awards ceremony, a night meant to honor students for their achievements, and Aiden had been chosen to give a short speech about perseverance. His heart raced as he thought about standing in front of the crowd, every eye focused on him. As he adjusted his tie, a wave of gratitude washed over him, and he thought of Evan, the delivery driver who had stopped his day to help a boy in need. Evan's words echoed in his mind. Confidence isn't about the clothes you wear, but how you wear them. It was more than just a statement. It was a lifeline, something he could cling to as he stepped into the unknown. When the time came for Aiden's speech, he took a deep breath, focusing on Evan's encouragement. He walked to the podium, feeling the weight of the moment, yet grounded by the kindness he'd been shown. Looking out at the audience, he found his family's faces, his mom and dad beaming with pride, and the anxiety slowly faded. With a steady voice he began, speaking not just to the crowd but to himself, finding strength in every word. A few days ago, I met someone who reminded me that we're all connected, that even a simple act of kindness can lift someone up, he started, his voice strong yet heartfelt. This person, a stranger who became a friend, showed me that confidence comes from within, and that we can all help each other see that. A ripple of warmth spread through the room as Aiden continued, his story resonating with students, parents, and teachers alike. His words carried the wisdom Evan had shared, turning what could have been a simple speech into a heartfelt testament to compassion and courage. By the time he finished, a quiet, respectful applause filled the room, and Aiden felt a surge of pride unlike anything he had known. Afterward, his friends gathered around, sharing their admiration and asking about the story of the man with the tie. For Aiden, this wasn't just an award ceremony, it was a moment of transformation. He left that night, not just as a recipient of praise, but as a young man who understood the power of a helping hand, carrying Evan's lesson forward. A few days after the awards ceremony, Evan returned to his delivery route, moving through Lakewood's quiet streets. He was unaware that he had left a lasting impression on Aiden and his family. To him, helping Aiden had been a simple, unremarkable act, but to the Bryars, it had meant the world. So when Evan received a handwritten invitation from the family, inviting him over for a small gathering, he was taken aback. The words on the card were simple, yet sincere. "Thank you for your kindness. We'd love to celebrate it with you." Evan hesitated at first, feeling a bit bashful. But the thought of seeing Aiden and his family again warmed his heart, so he decided to go. That evening, as the sun dipped low and cast a golden glow over Lakewood, Evan parked his van by the Bryars' house. When he stepped out, he was greeted with smiles and laughter spilling from the open front door. Inside, the living room had been decorated simply yet warmly, with strings of lights and autumn flowers. Aiden, standing tall and proud in his neatly tied tie, greeted Evan with a grin. "Thank you for coming," he said, a mixture of excitement and gratitude in his voice. Evan felt a lump in his throat as he looked around and saw how much effort the family had put into the evening. Aiden's parents, Mary and Jim, welcomed him like an old friend, offering him a seat and a plate of food. As he sat down, he noticed a framed photo on the table. It was a picture of him and Aiden from that day, with the words inscribed underneath, "Thank you for helping me believe in myself." Touched, Evan picked up the frame, unable to hide his emotions. "You didn't have to do all this," he said, his voice barely a whisper. Mary placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You helped our son see his own potential. That's something we'll never forget," she replied warmly. As the evening unfolded, friends and neighbors who'd heard about Evan's kindness stopped by, each expressing their appreciation. For Evan, who had always lived a modest life, this unexpected celebration was overwhelming yet humbling. He realized that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could spark connections that leave a lasting legacy. In that moment, Evan felt a deep sense of purpose, understanding that his job was not just about delivering packages. It was about delivering hope, one small gesture at a time. After the gathering, the story of Evan's kindness spread quietly but powerfully through Lakewood. Neighbors who had attended the celebration shared the tale of the delivery driver who stopped his day to help a young boy with his tie, inspiring others with his selflessness. Soon, small acts of kindness began popping up around town. People greeted each other with warmer smiles, children helped each other with school projects, and even strangers shared nods of appreciation in passing. For Evan, life continued as usual, delivering packages along his route. Yet he sensed a subtle shift in his interactions. People began then to recognize him not only as their delivery driver, but as a friend. They would wave as he passed by, offering kind words or even a cup of coffee when he stopped. At first, Evan felt humbled by the attention, not fully understanding how deeply his actions had touched the community. One afternoon, while delivering a package, Evan noticed a young girl struggling to pick up a heavy box in her front yard. Without hesitation, he parked his van and offered a hand, lifting the box with ease and carrying it to her door. The girl's mother, watching from the doorway, thanked him warmly, mentioning how much she had heard about him. "You know," she said, smiling, "we all appreciate what you did for Aiden." It reminded us that kindness doesn't have to be grand to be meaningful. Evan simply nodded, his heart full. The girl's mother handed him a small gift bag, saying, "This is from the community, a little thank you for being who you are." Inside the bag was a card signed by several residents of Lakewood, each with a message expressing gratitude and appreciation for Evan's kindness. As he read each note, Evan felt the impact of his actions echoing in his soul. He had never sought recognition, but seeing how his small gesture had rippled through the town filled him with a quiet pride. In that moment, he realized that kindness was like a pebble dropped into a still pond. Its ripples spread far beyond the initial splash. Evan continued his route that day, carrying not only his packages, but a renewed sense of purpose. For him, each delivery became more than just a job. It was an opportunity to make a difference, however small, in the lives of those he met along the way. Years passed, and Lakewood continued to grow, but the memory of Evan Ramirez's simple act of kindness lingered like a cherished legend. Aiden, now in college, often thought about the day a delivery driver had taken the time to help him with a tie. That small gesture had marked a turning point in his life, teaching him that compassion and confidence could walk hand in hand. One day, Aiden found himself in a situation that felt remarkably familiar. He was preparing for a big presentation and noticed a freshman nearby, nervously adjusting his collar in front of a mirror, struggling with his own tie. Aiden couldn't help but smile, recognizing the look of anxiety in the young student's eyes. Feeling a surge of gratitude for the lesson Evan had imparted years ago, Aiden walked over, his own heart full of purpose. "Need a hand with that tie?" he asked gently, his tone calm and reassuring, just as Evan's had been. The freshman looked up, a mixture of relief and surprise on his face. With a nod, he let Aiden take the tie, watching as Aiden effortlessly crafted the knot. As he worked, Aiden shared Evan's words, his voice carrying the same quiet encouragement he had once received. "Confidence isn't about the clothes you wear, it's how you wear them, and it comes from within." The freshman's face softened as he absorbed the advice, a newfound confidence glimmering in his eyes. As Aiden stepped back, he felt a deep satisfaction, knowing he had just passed on a piece of the kindness that had transformed him. Back in Lakewood, Evan had since retired, but he continued to live quietly in the community. Occasionally, he'd receive a letter or a visit from someone who remembered his small act of help. Each time, he felt the gentle ripple of that long-ago day when he'd paused to help a young boy with his tie. Though he had always been humble about his impact, he now understood that kindness was a legacy, one that could be passed from person to person, spreading far beyond his initial gesture. One morning, Evan received a letter from Aidan, now a young man, filled with gratitude and the story of how he had helped someone else, paying forward the lesson that Evan had gifted him. Evan read the letter with a proud smile, his heart swelling with quiet joy. As he folded the letter, he thought about the unexpected power of small, compassionate acts. Though he had once been simply a delivery driver, he now felt like a part of something timeless. A chain of kindness that would continue to grow, one simple, heartfelt gesture at a time. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our latest videos. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you all for taking the time to watch, and see you in the next video.